Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Transformation Talk. I am here today with Grace Quantock of GraceQuantock.com. She is a writer, a wellness provocateur. She is the visionary behind the Sick Chick to Trailblazer community and conferences, and she's also the founder of the nonprofit Healing Boxes. So thank you so much for being here today, Grace.
Thank you so much for having me. I've admired your work for a long time, and I'm really, really grateful to have the opportunity to be here today.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be talking with you. You always make me, with your online interactions, you always make me smile because you're so positive, and I love that you call your Reiki Sparkle Reiki, and it's just so fun. It's so fun. So I'm really looking forward to talking with you today.
Thank you.
So let's give people a little bit of your background. You were a very active youth. You were involved in political protests for animal welfare. You were, really, really active and passionate. And then when you were 17, you were diagnosed with?
When I was 19, I got ill 19. When I was 13, and then when I was 19 was when I was diagnosed. But yes, I was a tree protesting, anti-war protesting, up there with the placards against the police. I was there. Doing all of those things while doing a degree and doing everything else that I was doing. And then, yes, I became ill, and this was pretty scary. We kind of didn't know what was happening at the start. I was actually at in an animal welfare sanctuary volunteering, and then I came home and just slept for about 20 hours, and then I couldn't get up. And that was when it started. That was when things really, really started, and we kind of didn't really know what was going on. So then, of course, you start with the doctors and the tests and all the blood tests, and they take about the amount of blood from your body, and then you don't know anything. And all this just happens over and over again. You just start to get more and more often scared, and also thinking, like, well, maybe it's just me. Because if they can't find anything, am I just imagining all the pain? Like, I know I'm not, but what's happening? And so often to be without a diagnosis is so hard because you don't have anything to work with. So often when people get diagnosed, they feel some relief. And then when I was diagnosed, other people were like, I'm so sorry. And I was thinking, no, you don't understand. I have a name. If I have a name, then I can research. If I have a name, then I can go to the library. And then nothing's going to stop me then. But of course, I couldn't go to the library because I was too sick to go to the library. But that wasn't. So actually what happened then was I started to very much focus on being cured, because I wanted to get back to the life that I had, because I had a plan for my life, and being told at 19 that I had illnesses that were never going to be cured really wasn't part of that plan. So I wasn't on board with what the doctors were saying at all. They were very nice, they were doing their best, but that wasn't what I was going to take at the time. But I then got into that whole realm of 3 a.m. Google searches where you're there and you're kind of like that and you just carry on. Because if I didn't read one web page, perhaps that would be the one web page with the secret cure. Because, of course, I'm sure if there was a cure, everybody would have heard about it by now. But, And then we actually started to shift things. And then some mental shifts started happening, which made some difference.
Wow. So, okay. So, can you tell me a little bit about the emotional impact of a diagnosis like this, where they are saying there is no cure, this is the rest of your life, we're sorry.
Yeah. You've actually got it pretty much nail on the head there. That was pretty much exactly what they said, was go home, get used to it, be okay with the fact that this is your life now. And there's not much we can do about it. There were some management treatments that could be funded, but later on, nobody would fund them for me because they never thought I was ever going to get any better at all, so there was no point funding them for somebody who they didn't think was really going to live. So it was very hard to feel written off. It was very scary to feel like that, and I very much felt like I had a broken label. In fact, to be honest, for the first, I don't know, I'm not very good at times, for a few years maybe, I was very embarrassed about being ill. It was like I'd done something wrong, like I'd failed in some way. Because I remember the first time I had a wheelchair, I pleaded with my husband to take me to the doctors around all the back roads in case somebody I know saw me. Because I hadn't told anybody about it. Because I'd gone from being so active, I didn't know how to be ill. There was nobody who was modelling being ill well. I couldn't find anybody who was modelling being ill and having a life. And I didn't want to be somebody who kind of hunched in a wheelchair with a blanket over their knees. That wasn't me. But then I realised, and it's not till years later that I've connected with other women who are living with illnesses and living well, that I'm realising that it doesn't matter what your body looks like, it doesn't matter what's going on inside you. You are the one that matters, that realistically the disabilities are the footnotes, and that you are the adventure story, that everybody has challenges, and they're nothing compared to your soul. And I say that from the point of view that I can do this now and I can sit up and talk to you now, but I was bedbound and I could not move. So I couldn't scratch my face, I couldn't roll over, I couldn't eat alone unassisted. So 2 weeks after my wedding, I can't use the bathroom. And this could happen to me again any time. And I'm living with that, knowing that this is the nature of the illnesses I'm living with. But even when I was in that state, I was still me. The disabilities, they didn't stop me being me. And that's why we talk about the body glitter all the time. It was because when I was there, I couldn't wash, I couldn't have my hair cut. I came up with like one dreadlock, basically, when I finally moved out of that place. And actually, we did out all my hair, and then we cut it to donate to Locks of Love, I'm really happy to be able to do that. And yes, when I was very ill, I couldn't wash, I couldn't sit up, I couldn't change my clothes every day, but I could wear body glitter. So Linus put body glitter on my arms, and I lay there in the dark, looking at my arms sparkling, and that cheered me up.
Wow. Wow. Poof. Talk about finding the positive in a situation. Yeah. So,
well, that didn't, to be honest, I can't say it was always like that. People used to say to me, if I were you, I'd kill myself, which is always great to hear. You kind of think, oh, thank you, that made my day better. But people say, if I was as ill as you, I would just cry all day. And you say, well, you do. For the first 6 months, you kind of sit there and you slump and you watch daytime television. And then you think, okay, I'm bored now, what am I going to do the rest of my life? And then you find another way. And that's how all that started.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for saying that, because that feels very it feels very honest in the sense of like, yes, of course you have those feelings, but then there comes that time where it's like, okay, enough of feeling sorry for myself, and I want to.
They don't go away completely.
Mm-hmm.
I have bad days. Yesterday I went to the doctors again and had more bloods done, and the doctors weren't telling me what they were blood testing me for. I knew some of it, but there were extra ones added in. I still don't know what they are, and they wouldn't tell me them. Because then I was going, what are they testing me for? And it's so to negotiate, they didn't want to, so to negotiate through that, a healthcare system which isn't set up currently to empower patients in a partnership, it's hard. So then I had to go away and deal with that and use certain tools and techniques to manage this, because acceptance to me is a process. It's not something, I haven't accepted everything now and it's okay. It's something I come up against time and time again. But I use the practices I've learned, and I use what I've gained to help me through it each time and to help me keep living a happy life. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So where did the transition start to happen for you? On your website, you say the last 3 years you've really moved from surviving to thriving. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I can, thank you. Yes, there were 2 points really. The first point was when I was 22, so I'm 25 now, and the doctors tested me, did a bone scan, and they thought at the time that it's possible that I had sarcoma, pretty extensively, which is pretty scary. And also one of my best friends has extensive sarcoma, so I was in that horrible position knowing too much about it and being too aware of what that meant. So while we waited for those test results to come back, I was in hydrotherapy the one day, and I decided to make a list that if I didn't have to battle for my life, if I just got to keep living with the illnesses that were limiting my life rather than the illnesses that were threatening to take my life right now, then I was going to stop being scared and do the things I actually really wanted to do. So we made a list on my old brick of a phone, and we typed in everything I wanted to do, and it was things like One of them was to set up healing boxes, and one of them was to actually write down and share my healing journey story, because people were asking me. I would get phone calls and emails and people I didn't know being passed on to me saying, like, this girl, you talk to her. So I thought, I'm actually going to share this because there's people out there who don't happen to know me and might need this, and just it's so healing to share your story. So we typed all of this into my other one was I wanted to wear more earrings. It's very little things that come up, but that was what I was regretting when I was thinking that I might die, was that I hadn't worn more earrings. So we made our list, we went outside and called the doctors and found out that no, I did not have sarcoma. I had relatively extensive osteoporosis, which isn't super at 22, but wasn't actively killing me, so excellent for that. And then we went ahead and actually did everything on the list. And then that moved on again because we were doing all these very, very out there healing things. And I mean, it's different in Britain to in America as well, I understand. And it's even more different in Wales. So I was, drinking my green juice and doing all these things that at the time when we began it, most people hadn't heard of. And I just said to Linus one day, I am fed up of going to all the extremes of healing. I'm fed up of being the freak and the odd one out and the sick chick and the one where people ring up and they say, oh, how are you, Grace? I'm doing okay. So you're better? Well, we don't really talk about it like that. I mean, I'm doing good today. So you're cured? Well, no. And it was just everything revolved around illness. I seemed to have no personality. I seemed to be a moving diagnosis with a personality dragging behind her, which it left. So Lana said, okay, if you're fed up of being a sick chick, if you're always fed up of going to the extremes and forging new paths and healing, then why don't you just stop being a sick chick and be a trailblazer? See, the secret is he's the wisdom behind all of this stuff.
He sounds amazing.
I'm trying to persuade him to start coming to the interviews with me. He's very good. He's babysitting our rescue dog at the moment. And so I said, okay, let's do this. And then we put sparkly pink fairy wings on my wheelchair, and we carried on.
Wow. Wow, I get such goosebumps at that. That's just so beautiful. And I love that you have that incredible support in him, too.
It's just... It is amazing. It is possible for people to do things who don't have that, because I have some wonderful friends who don't have partners or don't have the support and do things, but also that's kind of inspired us to create these healing communities like the Sick Chicks Trailblazer community. So even if support isn't physical with you, you still have that network of people who you're watching other people who are living well and they're helping you to live well. And we talk about really day-to-day things as well, because it's very easy on the blogs to see people and think everybody's very put together. And then in the group we can talk about, like, this happened and how do I deal with this, or this happened and what happens there. And I remember the one day on there I was saying I was late for college and I had jeans and I was in so much pain and so swollen that very few of my clothes were fitting me. So I had one pair of jeans that I could wear, which were actually maternity jeans, because they don't dig in when I sit down all day. But they were wet, so I said, what can I do? How can I dry them? So in the end I put them in the dehydrator. Perfectly, it was a very good idea. I didn't think of it before. But somebody else suggested I iron them dry. But you see, it's just somewhere where I could share that and nobody else would kind of think, why can't she wear any of her clothes? And people could understand how. I think I'd also, one of my blog posts, I thought it was quite funny. I was in so much pain that I wore my bikini under my top to college because I was in too much pain to wear anything else. And do you know what? The one saying I wore my bikini to college, that got a lot of hits. I don't know why, because most of my readers are women. So I'm thinking it was everybody who felt like that. But yes, it was quite funny that was the one that got some of the most hits on the internet.
That's funny. Yeah. Excuse me, those little moments that make it all real. It's wonderful to have a community to share those with. So if people want to find your community, they would just go to your blog, right? GraceQuantock.com.
That's right.
Okay, great. So tell me a little bit about the soul detox sessions, because I am very curious myself about those. I've heard wonderful things.
Thank you. I love them. It's one of the ways I'm working one-on-one with people at the moment. And basically, so often in life we take on behaviours because they are a reaction to what's happening in our lives at the time. And they're not always the best thing for us. But say when you're a child or when you're not in a good situation, they're the best that you can do at the time. So I don't agree with kind of kicking things out of our heads or any of that, because there are parts of us which are doing their best. So in Soul Detox sessions, we combine spiritual response therapy with the charts, and Reiki, and intuitive reading, and coaching, and counselling skills, all together to help look at where people are now and help take away the blocks and the old patterns and the problems, and energetically to work with them as well, to get them to the point at which nothing is now holding them back from their dreams energetically. I mean, they aren't meant, they're not generally directed at women with illness. We have a lot of women with illness come through them. We actually have the Phoenix Fire sessions, which will be coming in this year, that's where I'm talking women through our own healing plan. So you come away with a healing blueprint of how you're going to go forward.
Wow. Okay, well, that's something for people to look forward to. That sounds wonderful as well. So, and I love that you've been able to combine what you love to do with also taking care of yourself, because I think right now it says on your website you can only do one person a week just for your own. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that's such a beautiful example of being able to combine passion and business and self-care and illness and all of those things.
Well, I found it very hard at the start because I was thinking, I was looking at other women in business and I was thinking, well, how am I ever going to do it? I can only work for a little bit at a time, so how is it going to happen? And I thought, well, hang on a second. Other women have children, or, they have their day jobs, or they have a lot of other things, or maybe they have to commute a long way, so they'll manage it, so surely there will be some way for you to work it out. And then I started looking at the challenges I had and trying to find triumphs in them. So, if I have limited time, well, I've had such limited time that I've only been conscious for 1 or 2 minutes a day. But I learned to make those 1 or 2 minutes count. So that means that when I have time, I use that time incredibly effectively and efficiently, which means that when a client pays me, they're going to get so much in that session, it's going to be wonderful. So that's actually a benefit. And the fact that I can only see one person a week actually means that they're getting everything from me that week. They are my priority and they are exactly what I'm focusing on. And yes, it's worked very well. We switch things from being, I'm sorry I can only see one person a week, to actually, yes, there's space for one person a week. If you want that to be you, you need to sign up to the mailing list.
Yeah, that's such a great mindset shift. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, so much of it came. I work with Erica Learmark in the Daily Whip, dailywhip.com, and she actually helped me create the Soul Detox sessions as my signature offering. So I went into that without a signature offering, and I came out of it with Soul Detox sessions and a waiting list.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She is fantastic.
I know, we're gonna, excuse me, everybody, we're gonna go short Erica Appreciation Society moment, but we'll come back after. No, she's wonderful.
Yeah. So, and tell me a little bit about healing boxes.
Healing boxes, my hard love. I don't have a box to hand. Shoot. Healing boxes are boxes of support and information and healing goodies that we send to people with chronic and serious illness or in life crises, because it kind of goes 2 ways. So in the one way, if your loved one is ill, you can feel so impotent and so angry and so isolated because the doctors are doing what they can do, the person is doing what they can do, cope, and what can you do? And you want to do something, anything, but often there's very little you can't do. So Healing Boxes comes in there and it gives you something that you can actually give, but they're also practical presents. So they're based on our years of living with illness. I think I've now lived with chronic illness for 15 years. So, and everybody on the board of Healing Boxes lives with a chronic or serious illness. So we have everybody's input. And being me, I have researched everything in depth. So we always did that, and then we're taking all of that and putting that into the boxes. So, for example, when you're in bed for a long time, or when you're ill, your circulation is often a bit more sluggish because you're not moving around. So your feet get really cold, so you want socks to put on them. But if the socks are too tight around the ankle, then it cuts off your circulation even more and your feet are worse. If it's too loose, then as you're moving around in bed, they just slide off like those tube socks that have no heels, and they just slip off, and somebody has to put them on you time after time after time after time. So we found bamboo socks, which have got the perfect band for the heel, but also they're hypoallergenic, they're eco, they wick any moisture away from your feet, they don't smell, they're super, super soft, and they regulate the temperature of your feet naturally. And that's the kind of research that's gone into every single item in the boxes. So it also means that when you're ill, you get to give you something beautiful for yourself, and you also won't get the kind of gifts, because so often people want to give you things, and they give you gifts, and you can't use them. And you wish you could, but they forgot about one of the many allergies, or one of the things your medication interacts with, or the fact that, you keep throwing everything up at the moment. So Healing Boxes actually gets around all of that. We make them tailored. And that actually began when one of my friends was in a car accident. I was bedbound. I was across the country for her. I could not go to the hospital to see her. But what I could do was put together a box with all the things people forget in hospital, like lip balm, because it's dry, and we don't remember those kind of things. So that's that.
And they're customized. They're relatively customizable according to the illness or the situation, or...
They are. We have at the moment on the website, we have boxes for men and for women. We have for comfort or for healing. We have boxes we do boxes people on chemotherapy or radiation. But we also do bespoke boxes, so you can tell me what somebody likes, and we will put together a box for pretty much anything. We've had some pretty out there requests for some of the things, and we've managed to make boxes for every situation. They've gone all around the world, and the letters and things we get back from them are just so humbling. It's just a gift every day to be able to spend my time putting together these beautiful boxes. And of course, everything in them is eco-friendly, so everything is fair trade or organic or made by companies that we personally love.
Wow. That's fantastic. For people who are interested, we will have your bio and all the relevant links here on the blog, so please check it out. And if you know someone who is in this situation, consider a healing box.
Thank you. Please also bear in mind that Healing Box is also non-profit. So money from every box sold goes to donate boxes to our local cancer hospice. They're as lovely and eco as we can possibly make them.
Yes, you are truly the definition of ethical entrepreneur.
Wow, when you take an activist and turn them into a business person, I think that's just what's gonna happen.
Absolutely. All right, well, let me finish with my last 3 questions here. If you could wave a magic wand and change anything about the world, what would it be?
That would be for people to accept themselves and start exactly where they are now. Not when the children have left for college, not when the business is done, the debt's paid off, they bought the juice or they've lost £10, but loving and beginning right here now.
Amen to that. What brings you the most joy right now?
To be honest, it's love and awe. I'm continually awestruck by the world we're in and the beauty of it, and seeing manifestations and actions of love and of just the beauty in the world, from flowers to poetry to people to hand-holding, is just seeing this little spark of that every day. That's what it is.
Nice. And what's one unique or interesting fact about you that makes you uniquely you?
Surprisingly, I am spectacular at abseiling and rock climbing.
You have what?
Surprisingly, I am spectacular at abseiling and rock climbing.
Wow.
I was at a tree protest camp and I had to learn to abseil or I couldn't get down from the tree. So you get good very quickly when that's what's between you and the ground.
Wow. Wow, I love it. All right, well, thank you so much, Grace. I really appreciate your time and everything you do.
Thank you, and thank you for your work. I've admired it for a long time, and I'm really, really grateful to be in this space with you.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Have a beautiful day, and thanks for sharing so much of yourself with the world.
Pleasure.
Mwah.